Thanks. So obviously myself and Dave started our session yesterday, and this is basically a bit of a continuation of our session and how to get more out of your HMI. Okay, so you can see on screen there we're going to have got a few topics to cover today, but without further ado we will press on. So the first topic we wanted to talk about today was how to enhance your HMI panel further. One of the ways we can do this is with the HMI Option Plus extension. This is available for a range of the traditional comfort panels, as you can see, including the Comfort Panel Pro edition as well. But what is a HMI Option Plus? Well, HMI Option Plus is actually an interface which actually links our WinTC runtime on the panel to the operating systems. And on here, this actually gives us a configuration console where we can actually set some of these options up. We'll see there it allows us to also connect things like RFID readers and barcode scanners and be able to bring those directly into the runtime without any scripting requirements and things like that. Some of the things I'm going to go through, there's many options. I'll just cover off a few. So we can get lots of project information, things like the uptime, memory, performance, and the storage of our device. So we can read these out and display these in tags at runtime as well, if we so please. And we've already covered things like the barcode scanners. But what you really get with this as well is the PM logon basic as well, which allows you to do your logon authentication utilizing things like the RFID reader as well. The smart access is built in with any comfort panel, but what you get with the Option Plus is the ability to have the smart service monitor as well, which gives us the ability to actually manage the interface of the smart service as well, see who's connected and manage those connections, etc. Lots and lots of other great functions, being able to modify your IP addresses and host names at runtimes and things like that. If you've got secure connections as well, of course, security, we covered a little bit about that yesterday and how important that is with our panels on our networks as well. So if you've got certificate-based security on the system, then you can, of course, also manage your certificates as well at runtime on there. Other great features as well, if your operators require access to the Windows CE desktop as well, then the Option Plus gives us the capability to actually manage what desktop items they actually have access to if they were to access the desktop. So maybe you don't want the operator to be able to do certain functions and that sort of thing. So we can actually remove certain icons, certain things functionality that they can actually do. So a great addition. If you want to find out more about HMI Option Plus, you can see the web link there at the top there, where you can, of course, download it and get ordering information and all that sort of stuff. Okay. In this age now, people also want to be able to express their own design. So, of course, natively with the way a panel would come, we would all have the Siemens branding on it. Okay, so most of our panels now also give us the capability to order a neutral design, so just a complete flat black bezel. But if you've got a customer who likes to see their own branding, their own logo on it, those sorts of things, then of course you can also specify your own logo requirement or your own colorations for the bezel as well. So to completely customize it. So if you're an OEM and you want to ship it with your own branding on as well, that is also all possible. Okay, so this now brings us to a point in time where we want to look at how the look and feel of your HMI actually appears. So, of course, you can spend loads of time actually developing all your own templates and screens and all this sort of thing, but we've done an awful lot of this for you, and most of our application examples are built around utilizing the HMI Templates suite, which is for traditional comfort panels, runtime, advanced, and professional. and the HMI Template Wizard, which is for a bespoke system, which is for the generation of your base structure for your unified panels if you've moved into that arena. You can find both of these at the web link you can see on screen there at the top, where you can download both of these. Dave then shortly is going to take you through all of the possibilities and how you can utilize these. But basically, these are really great time savers to give you all the pre-configured screens, a nice common basic look and feel, and also utilize these styles as well, which we're going to come on to a little bit later on in the presentation today. So with that, without further ado, I'd just like to pass you over to Dave, who's going to take you through a nice demonstration of how to use these and get the most out of them.
Okay, so where we start with a template suite, we're going to start with the standard comfort panel. So this, we import the library into TIA portal, and then we can open up the library. Now you can build these from scratch, but the easier way of doing it is to actually bring in a pre-built device. So here we have got these available for both basic screens and the comfort or the advanced, the PC runtime. So at the moment, I'm going to go for a larger device, so a TP1200. We simply drag and drop that device into our system. And once it's opened and in there, takes it a second to come in. What we can now do is we can go into that device and we can open up the screens, but how the screens, how this actually takes place is through something called templates. So we have different templates that are available here. So we have single navigation. I'll show you the different navigations, setting screen, and then a 2-level navigation, which is the one that I'm going to go into at the moment. So the main piece of advice when you're looking at altering this template is don't click into the screen. If you click into the screen and start trying to change stuff actually in the screen by clicking on objects, you will end up in a whole world of pain. The way to edit this is to come into what we call layout. Everything in this screen appears here, but it's now dead easy to pick. We've got hidden buttons that are over the tops of things, and if we just click in the screen, we're not going to be clicking on what we think we're clicking on. We're going to be clicking on buttons. So for example, to change this text up here, so to give it a name, if you simply click that there, which is the item that we want, come down into the properties of that, and that's where we can now change that to what we want it to be. And we haven't messed with any of the other items. It's now changed up nicely in there, and that's going to appear on all of our screens. If we want to change the buttons, the overview buttons, if we come down here, we just select the different button, we click the button here, and that's selected our button there. And that's where we might not want it to say overview. We might want it to be, say, a home screen, something like that. So it just gives you the changes. Do them in the layer here. Don't do it by clicking in the screen. But once we've edited it up, we've put our screens. How do we actually apply these templates? So if we click on our start screen, we click in. What you can see here is this is where we decide which template we're going to apply. So it's just on the properties of the screen. We click in there. That's the one I've edited. You can see straight away that it's now changed to my template. And if I put this system into simulation, what you can see now is it's built the screen. By default, we've already got our diagnostics view that we went through yesterday. So if you want to see how the diagnostic view works, go there. We can go back to our start screen. We can go to messages. This is alarms and similar. We have a setting screen pre-built. Obviously, it's not going to change the brightness because this is a simulation, but we can change language. We could exit the runtime. on this setting screen. We can go back, and we could then flick between different screens. We would have to program these buttons up, so we can have different buttons, but we can flick between them. It gives it a very common look and feel to your screens. Third level navigation will then bring us a pop out on this side of the screen here that we could then select. Say we could go into module 1, and then there might be various options for module 1 that we would have on a slide out here. The actual display will, as I go further through the demo, you will see there are the actual items you bring in as part of styles will also have the same color scheme and the same look and feel. So it gives you a very nice looking display. So that is a standard comfort panel. What we're now going to look at is a unified comfort panel. So that doesn't actually go from a library here. We actually have now a wizard that we run. So if we come up here and you install this wizard, you get this nice little openness. This is all written through openness. So the first thing it's asking us is what size of display do we want. So we'll go for the same 12-inch display. It's given us a preview of what the display is going to look like. We can now click yes, go forward. So we're going to attach to our actual demo that we're running at the moment. So it's going to insert it into our running project, or we could create a brand new project for our screen. So first of all, it's now just using openness. It's going into that project, and it's just copying in some of the details it needs inside that project. And then once it's finished that, it'll come back and actually ask us what we want our screens to look like. So it's creating the preview now of all the items that are available to us. So we're doing this in real time. So there is some slight delays while it does it.
Dave, I just wanted to ask, do you have to pre-install a library for this for it to work?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer.
Okay, I was just wondering how the openness was working.
It probably does. You probably do have to pre-install the library.
The library, yeah. Okay.
But I have got a library in my project. Let me have a look in the library. So because it's doing this, as I say, it's extracting all the details. So it's come through, it's brought it all through, it's identified what we're doing. So now here is our pre-built screen. We can now decide, do we want main navigation, sub-navigation, third level? So I'm going to turn off the third level. If I turn off sub-navigation, all my buttons on the bottom disappear. But you can decide actually how many buttons do you want on the bottom. And you can see it's all updating in real time to build these buttons or take them away, so you can see at all times what you want. There are some pre-built screens that you can build in, so you can decide that you want these screens and it will pre-put them into your project for you to enable you to maybe adapt them for your system. And then we click next. It gives us a nice little overview, and then I click finish. And what it's now doing is it's building that screen and just removing everything it doesn't need and putting it into my project. So hopefully we'll be there in a second. Saving the project, deleting the temporary files, and it's finished. So if we must have a multi-touch screen. We can go in here. We have it's built everything that we need. So what we will do is we will simply put this into simulation. It's always good when a demo comes up with an error. Right, I've got an error on my thing, so I won't be able to put that into simulation. But that does build you the thing. I will have to, I know what I've done while I've been setting up one of my other demos. I've changed one of the face plates, which is why it's gone wrong there. But with that, I'll hand back to Andy, and hopefully I'll have that working at some point during this presentation.
Right. So whilst we'll look there and Dave's looking into that, we will press on with the rest of the presentation. Okay. So I mean, styles and designs is actually nothing all that new in the world of TIA, but lots of the what we've been talking about today so far, and what we're going to continue to talk about today, actually utilizes these styles. So built into TIA Portal is 4 standard styles which you can actually switch between. So what is a style? Well, a style is a way of changing the look and feel of your object. So by default, I think it comes in with sort of a light grey type style, but you can switch between dark styles, like frame styles, those sorts of things. So you have 4 built in that you can easily switch between, changing the common look and feel of your panel. But where it gets really interesting is the way you can actually then go and make your own styles. So let's say, for example, you were a machine manufacturer and you wanted to maintain one project for one specific type of machine, but then wanted to be able to overlay the colorations for a particular, maybe the corporate colorations for a particular manufacturer or purchaser of your machine, I should say. It gives you the ability to be able to do that all within one project. So then effectively, depending on who you're supplying the machine to, maybe one will have a nice sort of a blue look and feel, another one might have a beige look and feel, or a plain sort of white look and feel. So you can just switch between these really easily, and of course you would then be able to store them. Now, these would be generated in your project library. But of course, then you could then share those styles out with and out to your global library, which you could share with your colleagues or on a central server, or where you could all have access to them. And the reason we're talking about this today is a lot of the FAQs that we're showing this, the one that Dave's just taken you through today so far, and the ones that we're going to come on to a little bit later on, all of the ones that we supply, a lot of the times that we are actually utilizing a style in there. And we will keep these styles updated as well. So because they deploy the version controlling on there, which we'll come on to next, this means that we can then update these, and you can then maintain the update of yours from our website as well. So Dave's just going to show you and talk you through the styles. Hopefully Dave's ready. Are you good to go, Dave? Yes, he is.
Yeah. We'll crack on. There might be something going on in the background because I'm rebuilding that wizard, but we will see how we get on. So the first thing to do with styles is this comes under common data. So what you will see at the bottom is we have our styles here. So we have multiple different styles. Some of them have been put in actually by the templates that we've put in, but we can look at, we've got like dark styles, light fresh styles, light styles, wireframe if you don't want any color. So just save some money, buy a black and white screen, and you can go to a grey scale. So if you want to go into one of these styles, you can obviously go in there, you can edit it as a type, and you can actually now change what you want. This is one of the templates that comes in with, as I say, with our template page. If you were on there, you wanted that actually to be a different color across all of your systems, you can change that color, and you'll get a different, that's a fill level that goes horizontally. So you can get different styles of different templates when you bring them in, so that all your graphics match. So on your actual device then, when you put an object on the screen, you deploy whether you want it to use styles, and you can then go into your device, and in the runtime settings of that device, you can either pick a default style. So when I was in my last view, there was a one default, so you can change every HMI inside your project to all use the default, or you can, for each of the HMI device, you can pick a particular style that you want that to look like. So these are changed at engineering, and then you download. So rather than show you me changing the style, what we've done is we have a project here where we've built 3 screens using different styles. So the actual screen is always the same. As you can see, it's built with the template suite so that we've got the common look and feel. But by simply changing that style on the runtime, you can make the same screen look completely different. So it just gives you a view of how you can change a screen by picking a different style, and by changing one view, you can give either a light grey or a dark blue sort of look and feel to your screen. So you can make a screen look very different, but at the same time, it has a consistent look and feel. So you can make all your HMIs on a project or in a factory all have the same look and feel, so that everything works together. So that's styles. So I'll hand back to Andy now.
Right, so that then brings us, I mean, we've touched on this, I touched this on the last slide, the library concept. Now, we were also mentioned about the version controlling. So we can do version controlling inside the inside the project on things like function blocks, function calls, but where you would normally find it is on things like faceplates, and of course the styles that we talked about as well. So this gives us faster, really great for version controlling, as we talked about. So we'll be able to update things. We'll be able to make comments on things that we've changed, share our changes, as I mentioned earlier, with through the global library functionality. Now, where this becomes really powerful is that when we're utilizing blocks of code or faceplates across a large HMI application or a large PLC application, or both in many cases, then we can do a very quick rollout and change certain PLCs or HMIs specifically, or the whole project as well, with literally a singular click. And we're up, running, and away to go. Roll those changes out, and we can test them. You can actually pre-test one as well as a singular instance if you needed to test and prove that works before rolling it out to anywhere else as well. So really strong method of doing this as well. Also, and the reason we talk about these as well, again, styles and libraries and all those sorts of things, the version controlling that we just talked about is utilized in many of our application examples. The next one that we're going to come on to is the one that I really like, is what we call the HMI Toolbox. And we can see that up here. So we get loads of great functions. You can find it at this web link here. There's loads of common functions that are more challenging of some of our applications to actually do, which we've pre-done, pre-written, we've made in a nice common sort of template style that you're familiar with, that Dave's just taken you through. And these are really great time savers. So if you've got some mathematical functions, time functions, those sort of things, Dave's going to basically give you shortly. He's going to give you an overview of some of the things that we have in HMI Toolbox. But before we get there, also just wanted to point you at the where we can find some other great HMI libraries. So I've put a web link on here at the bottom of the screen here, which is takes you to this home page. So this is the visualization homepage for the most important documents and links that you can find around visualization. Okay, from here, of course, you can also get to the most important document of information for things like control, motion, communication, safety, switchgear, and migration as well. So all those you can get a fast jump to from here as well. But in this basically link, we will then all split out to FAQs, your application examples, your training courses, product information. All those things are all there for you from this one link. So jot that one down. It's a starter for 10. So with that, hopefully I'll pass you back to Dave now, who will take you through the HMI Toolbox.
Thanks, Andy. So when you load the toolbox, when you load it, is basically a library. So what you can do, you can see the library here, and it comes, as per the name, it comes with a load of different tools. So I'm going to actually, rather than show you how to engineer these, I'm just going to show you some of the tools that are available. There is, as part of the on the web page, there is a full demo project, so you can see exactly how they all work. So the first one, I'm just going to go in to ensure I don't overrun. I'm just going to set up a little timer, so I can put a reminder in for me, and then I can give start. So that is now going to give me a countdown timer. If we go back in here, we have a stopwatch. So if you wanted to time, and you were timing some operations, you can actually time it. You get your lap time, so it's a fully functional stopwatch, just as we would expect. But it's all pre-built for you. You can just drag this on as a faceplate into your project, or use it as a full screen, which we've got here. We've got time switches, so we can set up a time switch. It's all pre-built. All the PLC code is there for you as well. It even has export function, so if you want to save different levels of time switch, that can be done as well. Calendar. There's a fully functional calendar. It moves through the dates. We can add events into the calendar, so if we want to be reminding something, and then we can go and have a look at the events that have been put in, and when the next event is, and what that event is. So it's possible to set up a calendar on a screen. If we go back to the home page, we've got calculator. I actually really like this one. So it is a fully functional calculator that is just a faceplate that you can drop on. So if you've got an operator, they have to do some maths, rather than having to have a calculator hanging around, which will probably always be flat on the battery. You can there's a fully built, ready to go calculator, fully functional. It's got all the standard functions that you would expect of a calculator. It's just a faceplate that you can drop into your panel and use as you want. We have more tools over here. So one that, you've got a nice little segment view, so it goes round. We can have that as a ring segment view, again, just to help your graphics. I should have finished my demo by now because it's flipped back, and I've taken me 2 minutes, but we'll continue and have a look at some of the other tools. This one is great if you're doing, you want to show inputs and outputs, because what we've got here is, say, I can put a value in here. So that could be an 8-way input-output card, a 16-way input-output card. Just pass it the output byte with a value, and it will show you your bits. And then we've got a 32-way. Again, these are just faceplates that you can just drop on to your project, so you could really quickly build some input-output status screens for you. And if you watched our demo from yesterday of the multiplexing tags, we'd be able to pass a multiplexing tag over to that, so we could really quickly, one screen, flick through all our IO cards. Waiting time, we're all used to that, aren't we, with the IO portal? I've already shown you it today with the wizard. So these are just little animations that you can use if you're looking to do waiting time, a loading screen. I must have looked at that several times while I've been using Portal. So there are just numerous different ways that you can use. They're all just little things that maybe you've got to do a temperature conversion, so you can go in there, do the conversion, and it will just run it between centigrade and Fahrenheit without you having to even think. So these are just pre-built face plates and screens that you can drop into your project. If you're using the template suite, which we are here, they've all got that nice look and feel, so you get a really consistent view. So with that, I'll hand back to Andy.
And of course, just sticking with that theme as well. So I've shown you this link here with the most important documents links to visualization. Somewhere around there, you actually get to the process library, but I've actually put the link in to get you directly there as well. This standardized process library we have is some pretty neat functions, and of course designed around the process type of application, but is not limited to it. Okay, we have designed these nice common look and feel blocks of code, and also interfaces to go along with them. So you can see things there like motors, valves, 3-port valves, Simatic starters, all those sorts of things are all built in, tank controls and all that sort of thing. We've made them for a whole range of things, like from the comfort panels through to runtime advanced. The ones you see on screen here are actually the WinTC professional flavor, which come in, as you can see, like a faceplate here. Okay, when you get down to a comfort panel, what they're actually done is they're actually designed as a whole screen element. Okay, so because of the size restrictions and that sort of thing, rather than on a WinTC professional system, we've done it as a screen-based navigation rather than a faceplate-based navigation. These give you loads of great features. So you have like the home symbol on there, where you can gain basic access to what the motor's doing, start and stop it, switch between manual and auto, and you see some basic information, and say on this one for trip, external fault, runtime hours, and all that sort of thing. You've also got a tab there which you click on, and that will then take you into the alarm database for this function for this motor. So it pre-filters the alarm to just these elements. You've also got setup elements on there as well, so you can decide how it's going to operate, whether you have an external trip fault, for example, and those sorts of things. And then finally, of course, built into the block as well is the security. Okay, so you've got the user access. Now, we went through this in a bit of detail in our session yesterday, so please go back and watch that in catch up as well if you wanted to catch up on those as well. But the user log on for the block is all catered for within inside of the faceplate or the screen options as well. Okay, so with that, Dave's going to hopefully break out and give you a demonstration of one of these running with inside a comfort panel. So not utilizing the faceplate option, utilizing the screen options with the comfort panel.
Okay, so what we've got here is the demo project. Again, the library for basic processes is a library, so it has a number of elements. You can bring it in just as a straight panel, or you can use the demo project, which is what we've got here, just to show you. So as Andy said, the basic process control is primarily intended for SCADA type applications. But there may be times where you've got your SCADA running your plant, but you want a little bit of local control. So you want to put a HMI down on a local bit of plant. But as this library does not only include the graphics objects, it includes all the blocks that actually go inside the PLC. So if you've used it with your SCADA, that means all those blocks are there and available inside your PLC. So why not use those blocks to build displays in your HMI? So the one that I've really worked with is this one. So what we've got here is we've got a motor. straight away we can see from the symbol it's running it, it's automatic and it's turned off. So what we can do, we can go into there, we can flick the motor into manual. As Andy said, it's got security built in. So I will just enter my security details so we can now see who's operating this device. We can put it into manual and we can now turn it on. So we're getting the run up. If we go back to our home page, we can now see it's gone into manual rather than auto, and it's running. So this is using the same program blocks, as I said, that would be available inside the SCADA. It doesn't look, it hasn't got the faceplate, it's doing it as a whole screen, but it means that, as I say, you can do local control. They've also built in simulation. So if we do something like a trip and then go back, you can see straight away we're getting indication on the motor, it's gone off. We're getting the trip. If we click into here, we can have a look, we can see it's off, we can go into errors and we can see the trip. So this is part of the faceplate. This is how we can, the screen, so it's given us all the same detail that we get on our SCADA, but it means that we can use this down at a local level and make full use of the blocks that are already in the PLC. So some of the symbols that are here inside this demo project, it actually shows you the symbols. So on our comfort panel, we can have valves, horizontal, vertical. We've got different styles of motor with interlocks. We've got levels. We've got a time switch, so we can open that up and we can have time switches that go on and off. The next one, we've got further motors. So these are the symbols that are available as part of the library. As I say, I wouldn't see this primarily being used as a control or thing. I see this as an addition where you want a local little HMI panel that is linking into a system that is primarily being controlled by a SCADA, which is using the basic process control screens. And we're just making further use of the system. So that is basic process control. I've also been working to correct my error. So I started a fresh project and I have put the screen into the fresh project, rerun the wizard. So what I can tell you now is that you don't actually have to have the libraries, because I started an absolute brand new project. I didn't actually bring the libraries into the project. It does it all itself. And then I've built the screens. I've applied a number of screens. Now, when I put this into simulation, because this, even though this is a panel, because this is unified, it is, I run the simulation in a browser, show you the simulation. So there is a little bit of white space around the outside because the screen resolution of my system is bigger than the panel, but this is the look and feel that you get. I could go in and, as I say, just as we did before, change the application name. Although the colors are different, it has a very similar look and feel to the template suite. So we have the side here where we can again go to messages, so we get our alarm view. We can go into settings again. It's not going to actually have a view here, but you can see the third level navigation here. So we can set it up with third level navigation to go over here. But if we go back to the application, this is then where we would put our screen windows in. So this is how we would move. So I've set this that we have only got 3 different modules to go through. So it's just the way that the screen template runs. It does work. It builds you your screens. You get a very similar look and feel across your complete setup. And that is the end of my demonstration today. So back to Andy.
Great to see that working. And right, okay, so basically, we're at the point we're almost at the close of this session now. So it was just to point out just a bit of a follow on from yesterday, some of the other great things that are integrated into our panels as well. And one of them really is the which tends to be underutilized for many of our customers is the micro memory card, the MMC card, which goes into the back of the panel. This is really great for backup replacement. You don't require an engineering tool for this in order to replace a panel, so really fast replacement. So the memory card goes into MMC backup slot in the back of the panel, and don't confuse it with the SD card slot as well. Okay, because there is another slot there for data storage as well. Basically, in here, when you do a download to the panel, the whole runtime environment, the whole compiled runtime goes down onto this card as well as to the panel. That then means that if we have to replace the panel, we simply take the card out, put it into the new identical device, very important to know, and put it in, switch it on, and it'll boot from this card and load the runtime environment. But where it's really important as well, we do an awful lot of, or you maybe have an application where you do things at runtime, like create users and user access controls as well at runtime. So this would store any runtime user logon information as well and back that up. So that way, when you transfer it across, all your users are there and still exist. And also your recipes. So any recipes that you've generated at runtime, because there's nothing worse than if you have the HMI have a screwdriver jab through it, like it shows here on the screen, which I'm sure has never happened to any of you guys. When you have to go through the pain of having to change the HMI and the cost of that, but then to have to be able to go back in afterwards and try to remember what all your recipes are on a closed system, then that would of course have further issues as well and further downtime. So that then brings us to our final slide, something we just wanted to mention today. So Dave's taken you through and shown you lots of demonstrations on how to use some of the stuff off our website, and I've gone through a lot of this detail in slides as well. But this slide that's on here at the moment, you can see the web link there. Just type that into our website. And this really does give you a good starter for 10 or 7 times 10, as it says up there on screen. So these are 7 videos, all 10 minutes long, basically take you through the whole process of how you should design your HMI. And it literally does take you and start you right at the drawing board, where you're interacting with various different peoples. It makes suggestions how you can collaborate well together to get a really great look and feel, working through things that are elements that you need to fast interactive or regular interaction with in your HMI, and things that are less important, and how to structure those and how to make sure that you don't make that screen too busy, because there is a very big danger of just because you've got a 15-inch screen doesn't mean you should put everything on one screen. Okay, so it goes through lots of stuff like that on how you can make the look and feel really nice. So I would recommend taking a look at this. It's a really good watch, and it also supplies you with templates for working through your HMI application as well. So with that, we bring that to the close.